Who are you going to call?
The Ghostbusters?
Yes.
Yes,
You answered
I
correctly.
got it. Yes, I knew.
I just don't know the number.
No, me neither. What's the number for 911?
How should I know? But hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Bodacious Rant. We're delightfully reviewing the latest addition to the Ghostbusters franchise, Ghostbusters Afterlife, starring McKenna Grace, Carrie Coon, Paul Rudd, the ever so ageless and amazing
And
Paul
the
Rudd.
sexiest man alive.
Yep, and then Finn
Wolfhard.
Yeah. Wolfhard, yeah, from Stranger Things. So, this basically takes place, present day 2021, since the first and second movie that came out in 84 and I believe 87, I think. I'm not sure the second one, I forgot, but and this follows the adventures of McKenna Grace's character. What was her name? I can't think of the name of Phoebe. And I don't want to spoil any more there, but she finds out that Egon Spangler, Harold Ramis, God rest him, was her grandfather. So it was pretty cool. It was actually very surprising. I didn't think watching it, I was like, what, let's see where this goes, just because I didn't really see a lot of the reviews for it.
Mm-hmm.
Lately I try and steer clear of reviews until after I see it, just so I don't get deterred by it. You know what I mean?
Right, you just want to go in with your own thoughts.
Exactly, and then if I don't like it, cool. If I do, awesome. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. But overall, what do you think of the movie Burn?
I really enjoyed this movie a lot, and this is coming from someone who I did enjoy the two Ghostbusters movies with the original cast, but I wouldn't say I wasn't that I'm a huge fan of the Ghostbusters property. I know it's been a pretty big thing since the 80s, and I know that also the animated series that came out had another big following too. But for me, it was just a couple of those movies that I saw, enjoyed it, and then never really thought about it too much. I didn't see the 2016 reboot, and that wasn't because I was like, oh, I'm not gonna watch them. It was just I just never got around to it. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. It was the 2016 one wasn't bad.
Mm-hmm.
Again, my thought is that they just weren't as funny as I thought they could have been. So I don't know if it was the writing or whatever it was, but either way, It was solid. But just I couldn't capture the magic of just the original. The original trio of Ramis, Aykroyd, and Murray.
Yeah, I mean that first movie was really lightning in a bottle, and I know that the second one isn't that much beloved. I think it really is just the first movie that really captured the zeitgeist, and with a lot of movies, what they're doing now is making them direct sequels to the original movies. They happened with Halloween, and it happened with a few other properties. It's you never know how they're gonna turn out. They're revisiting these things and continuing them years and years later, and you're kind of. You're a little wary to, going in, you're like, okay, are they really going to do this property justice? Is this movie going to be able to stand on its own? Or is it just going to be one of those reboots or sequels that just kind of just only does the fan service and doesn't offer anything of value? And I don't think that's the case here. I think this movie is very heartfelt. The director, Jason Reitman, is Ivan Reitman's son, the one who did the original Ghostbusters. So, and you can tell he has a lot of reverence for the material. This movie has a lot of heart, and you feel it in almost every frame. It feels very much like a love letter to the property and to the fans. And the characters themselves are very endearing, especially McKenna Grace, who I think absolutely steals this movie. I mean, this is her movie, and she steals it from herself. She does a very good job. And even, her other cast members, Finn Wolfhard, who we've seen in Stranger Things. We know he's good, and, he comes in and he does deliver a solid performance. But the other real standout to me was Logan Kim as a podcast. Just a friend of Phoebe's that she meets in this, Oklahoma town. I thought their dynamic was great, and I thought they made the movie feel almost very Spielbergian, it had that, childlike sense of wonder. It felt very much like if Spielberg made a Ghostbusters movie.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely agree with that. I thought some parts it was a little slow, but overall, yeah, there was a lot of heart, and especially for Harold Ramis, because I know he was helping write with Dan Aykroyd. Unfortunately, he succumbed to cancer years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's been quite a long time, and they were just wondering, do we finish this? How are we going to go about it? And I think they play it off very respectively
Mm-hmm.
for the most part. Like, again, I'm not trying to spoil anything, so I'm just gonna say it was very tasteful what they did with Harold Ramis in this movie.
Yeah.
And like the new actors and stuff. It has a lot of themes and moments from the original, just modernized, kind of like what Jurassic World Evolution did.
The Force Awakens. There's a lot of
The Force
similarities
Awakens,
there.
very much like that. You got to keep some stuff of the original in the new one. Sometimes some movies overdo it, and it's like, okay, you basically just ripped it off. Like, you didn't even try and do anything new.
Yeah.
But this is one of the few sequels. I'm like, you know what? It does expand upon the franchise in a great way, where you don't feel it's just a complete rehash of the original, so or just a complete dull continuation of the original. So I really like that. And yeah, just powerful performances overall. Visually was great.
Yeah.
I think a great mix of practical and digital effects. That was one of the strongest suits. Some crazy cameos, which was like, what?
Yeah.
What are you doing in here, kind of thing. Overall, I would give this movie. I don't want to give it a half. I'm just gonna stick with a 3 out of 5 because it was great, but it's still like, is it on my top 10 list? Not really, but not in a bad way. It's just not. It wasn't one I was like, oh my god, I'm blown away by. It was just a good, delightful film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I do agree with that 100%. It is also a 3 out of 5 for me. Mainly for the performances, the story, as you said. It's not wholly original, but it does do a good job of, I think, it making its existence feel like it was necessary. It wasn't like one of those like brainless retreads, and didn't feel at all like a cash grab. As you mentioned, the visual effects were pretty dang good, and I really like the update to a lot of the Ghostbusters hardware. Like every time a power what do they call it, like a power pack like turns on, like that thing just sounds like, ooh, like it sounds like it has a lot of punch to it. Like it sounded really cool, and getting the Ecto one into the mix, that felt like, oh man, this is awesome. And there's a sequence that we've seen in the trailers where there's a chase scene down this street in Oklahoma, and I think that action sequence is worth the price of admission alone. So there's a lot to like in here, and like you said, this is just a very enjoyable time at the movies, and I think it's a really good family fare. And with Thanksgiving coming up, I think this is one that people will be able to enjoy with their whole families.
Absolutely. So again, if you guys have seen it, let us know what you thought in the comments, or just wait around for our spoiler review coming up this week. Until then, stay bodacious, keep on renting. Ghostbusters Afterlife out everywhere, Dolby, IMAX, regular theaters, what have you. So this is definitely one that's worth the admission for sure. Go to the theater for it. I think you'll be very surprised by it.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way you can walk away from this disappointed.
For sure. Until next time, everybody stay safe and have a great Thanksgiving as well. I'll talk to you later, Bern.
Absolutely, everybody. Be good, be safe, and remember, busting makes you feel good.
That definitely wasn't right. We'll end on that one.